today. I bet you're wondering what I'm doing with this giant pile of yarn. Well, today you are going to learn how to do some finger knitting. With a little bit of yarn and a little bit of practice, you'll be finger knitting till the cows come home. Get those fingers warmed up because here are the materials you're going to need. The hardest part of finger knitting might be choosing what kind of yarn to use. There's so many colors to choose from. There's multicolored yarn, which I used for this one, which you end up getting different sections of color as you knit. Or you could use a solid color, or you could use a thicker yarn too. But I think for today, I'm going to choose my favorite color, which is green. To start off, find the end of your yarn, and you're not going to cut anything yet. You're just going to keep your big roll of yarn right there attached to your piece of yarn. I'm right-handed, so I'm going to use my right hand to move, and my left hand is basically going to stay still for the most part. With my palm up, I'm going to place the yarn in between my thumb and my index finger, and I'm leaving about 4 or 5 inches of yarn kind of hanging out there. I want to make sure that my thumb is holding that yarn in place. With this hand, I'm going to grab the piece of yarn behind it and go back behind my index finger and then over my middle finger, under my ring finger, and over my pinky. So now I have this piece kind of hanging out, and you can see a little bit of yarn over your middle finger and over your pinky finger, right at the base of your finger. The next thing I'm going to do is go under my pinky finger and over my ring finger. Then I'm going to go under my middle finger and over my index finger. So now I can see a little bit of yarn at the base of each finger. Now I'm going to go back and do the same thing again, so I see 2 pieces of yarn over each finger. So I'm going to grab that piece of yarn again, go under my index finger, over my middle finger, under my ring finger, and over my pinky. Now I'm going to go back under my pinky, over my ring finger, under my middle finger, and over my index finger. So now I can see 2 pieces of yarn at the base of each finger. Now I'm going to grab that lower piece of yarn, and I'm going to have to bend my index finger in order to lift that piece of yarn over my index finger. Watch again. Now I'm going to do it with my middle finger. I'm going to grab the lower piece of yarn, bend my finger down, and pull it over my finger, so I'm just left with 1 piece of yarn here. Okay, next one. Gotta move that top one out of the way a little bit sometimes. And I'm gonna grab that bottom piece of yarn, bend my finger, and pull it over my ring finger. I'm gonna do the same thing with my pinky. I'm gonna grab this lower piece, bend my pinky, and go over my pinky. The next thing I'm going to do is tidy everything up. So I'm going to push all this back down because I want all that yarn at the base of my finger. I'm going to grab this piece here, give it a little tug so everything's nice and pulled tight. Tug this one a little bit too. And this is what it looks like on the back. Right now it looks like basically nothing, just a bunch of jumbled mess. But that's okay because at the beginning it doesn't really look like anything. So I'm going to grab this piece of yarn back here again, and I'm going to do the same thing I did before. I'm going to go over my middle finger, under my ring finger, over my pinky, then over my ring finger, under my middle finger, and over my index finger. So again, I have 2 pieces here, 2 pieces here, 2 here, and 2 here. And I'm just going to repeat the process again, starting with my index finger. I'm going to take this bottom piece of yarn, pull it, bend my index finger so it goes over my index finger. I'm going to move on to my middle finger now. Sometimes I have to kind of pull the top one out of the way to get at the bottom one. Pull the bottom one up and over my middle finger. Again, with my ring finger, same thing, up and over. And I'm going to take this bottom one on my pinky, bend that little pinky, and go up and over. So now I'm going to tidy things up again. I'm just going to push everything back down to the base of my fingers. Give this guy a pull, give this guy a pull, and that's what it looks like on the back. Not really much like anything yet. But if I keep going, remember, I'm starting over my middle finger, under my ring finger, over my pinky, and then back around, over my ring finger, under my middle finger, over my index finger. And then I want to pull up the bottom again. So I'm going to take this bottom piece, bend my index finger, get it up and over. This guy too, up and over. This one, up and over. Pinky, up and over. Tidy it up, push all that business down, give this a tug, give this a tug, and start again. Let's see, I'm gonna go over my middle finger, under my ring finger, over my pinky. Back under my pinky, over my ring finger, under my middle finger, and over my index finger. I'm going to start with my index finger again. I'm going to take this piece at the bottom, and if it's a little tight, sometimes it's a little difficult to get over that finger, but you kind of have to give it a little tug and work with it to get it up and over. Tidy it up, give it a tug, give it a tug, and that's what it starts looking like at the back. Okay, I'm going to put that back in my thumb to just kind of get a hold of it. Then I'm going to go over my middle finger, under the ring finger, over my pinky, over my ring finger, under and over, and go again. Tidy it up. Give it a little pull. Give it a little pull, and just keep going. If you want to stop your finger weaving and pick up with it at a later time, all you need is a pencil. And what you do is you put the pencil through one loop, then the next loop, then the next one, and the next one, and carefully slide it off your fingers. And you can just leave that for the next time you're ready to continue on your finger weaving. And when you're ready to pick your finger knitting back up and work on it some more, you just slide the loops back on your fingers. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then you can pick up where you left off. If you're finished and you're ready to tie off the end and you like the length of your finger weaving, what you're going to do is take the loop on your index finger and slide it on top of your middle finger, and then take the bottom loop and go over, up and over your finger. Then you take this loop and bring it over your ring finger. You take the bottom loop and slide it up and over. And then you're going to do the same thing here. Grab that loop on your ring finger, put it on your pinky, take that last loop and up and over your pinky. And then cut off your yarn. Give it about 12 inches and take that piece and slide it right into that last loop and pull. And that way you have finished your finger weaving and it won't come apart. So there, you've learned how to finger knit. What can you do with your finger knitting now? You could turn it into a necklace or a bracelet or a wall hanging. It could be a jump rope or something to play with, like a pet snake. The possibilities are endless.
And now it's time for a joke.
What do you call a person who can't decide what color yarn to use?
Nitpicky.